My wife has a new boyfriend. He's actually a pretty cool guy. I'm actually not quite sure how to feel right now. I never took us for the swinging type. Well, I say that, but honestly, it was less swinging and more betrayal. At least, that's what it felt like at first. I'm a busy guy. My wife always wanted to be a stay-at-home wife. I just wanted to fulfill her wish. But obviously, in order to do that, sacrifices had to be made. Hours were long. Money was good. And for a while, my wife seemed happy. That's the thing though. How happy can you be being alone all the time? I felt bad, sure, but at this point, I was just too involved with my work to cut back on anything. She seemed grateful, but I'd still catch glimpses of her sadness. Hollow eyes when I left in the morning. Exhausted attempts at conversation when I came home late. I always told her, once I retire, you'll have me all to yourself. She assured me all the time that I was the only man she'd ever want. The only man she could ever see herself being attracted to. But as time went on, it was like she was saying it to convince herself rather than me. When she started seeming happy and revitalized, I was relieved. She started going to pilot's classes. She took up knitting and crocheting. I thought that she was just finding new ways to fill her days when I wasn't there. What made me suspicious is when she started being secretive with her phone. She never let me hold it for too long. All of her apps were password protected. Her Photos app was strictly off limits. I let her have her privacy. I didn't want to pry. But then again, I never took her for the cheating type. Then she started getting home after me. I usually got home at around 10 every night. Usually, she'd either be in bed or on the couch watching Grey's Anatomy. When she started getting home at 11, 12, or 1 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't really keep my suspicions at bay anymore. Every time she came home, she smelled like my cologne. It was like she was using it to cover something. I questioned her about it, and, of course, her responses were always the same. You're the only man I need. You have nothing to worry about. You're the absolute love of my life. Even still, my mind couldn't help but wander. I'd be at work, completely incapable of thinking of anything other than what my wife may be doing. I started finding things at home that made me scratch my head even more. A watch identical to mine on my nightstand, while my actual watch was fastened to my wrist. A second pair of work boots by the front door. My favorite coffee mug in the sink. Dirty. Even though I'd used a different one, I convinced myself that I was losing my mind. The entire time all this strangeness was going on, my wife just seemed to keep getting happier and happier. She didn't seem lonely anymore. I hate how this makes me sound, but I couldn't stand it. Not because I didn't want her to be happy, but because I knew what it meant. One day, after a particularly stressful few hours at work, I decided that I was going to get home early. I was going to catch my wife before she left and insist that we go wherever she was going together. That morning, I had found that my favorite frozen breakfast burritos had been cleared out. It wouldn't bother me as much as it did had it not been for the fact that, 1, I knew that I hadn't eaten them, and 2, my wife was a vegan. I racked my brain about it for as long as I could. Part of the reason I wanted to go home to begin with was because I wanted to catch her in the act. My heart sank when I noticed a car identical to mine in the driveway. Same chipped paint, same make, same model, same leather seat covers. I mentally prepared myself before pushing the front door open. I was greeted by the sound of my wife's giggles. She sounded flirty. She sounded in love. But the true dagger was what I heard her say. You're the only man I could ever want. I found them curled up on the couch watching Grey's Anatomy. The smell of my cologne radiated off of him. He wore my shirt. My watch was strapped to his wrist. He was wearing my socks, while my work boots rested on the couch beside them. Same brown hair, same blue eyes, same freckles, same crooked nose. He was me. My wife saw me, and her face lit up. He saw me and shot me a smile. Honey, my wife cheered. I'm so happy you're home. I was waiting for you two to finally meet. She took the man by the hand and stood up with him. Donovan, this is Donovan. He extended his hand for me to shake. He had the same tattoo as me. Nice to meet you, Donovan. I'm Donovan. I've heard so much about you. I don't know why I shook his hand. I was speechless. I didn't know what to do, what I was even supposed to say. Well, I'll leave you boys to it. My 2 hardworking boys. You two play nice, okay? My wife left the room, left the house. I watched as her car backed out of the driveway and sped out of the neighborhood, leaving me alone with this. Imposter. He watched too, before breezing past me to the kitchen. He returned with a beer in his hand. He handed it to me and gestured for me to take a seat. We talked for hours. He reminded me of childhood memories that I had long since forgotten. Embarrassing moments in high school. My first love. Our first love. I couldn't help but be charmed. He started every conversation with, "Remember that time?" And damned if I'm lying. I actually did. Before I knew it, my wife was back. She walked through the door with our favorite takeout. Our stomachs rumbled at the same time. She stood in front of us, smiling like she was 20 again. "So," she inquired, "did you boys get acquainted?" We both nodded. "And you're both okay with this new setup?" Me and my clone glanced at each other. There was a silence that fell over the room for a few moments before we both announced at the same time, "I am if you are."